All right. Hello, my degenerates. Well, I hope you're not degenerate. But let's go ahead and do a market recap for September 27th. All right. In this lesson, I think what I'm going to do is I'm gonna just have this big white box, so then we can actually go through the session without you already seeing what the session's already brought. Now you'll see a line, so technically, you'll sort of know the secret that there's probably some kind of trend going on, but then you'll see what I'm looking for. So again, with the strategy that I teach and basically go over is with ATR, which is average true range. Why that's important, you don't really need to know a lot about the technicals, about the market. You don't need to be reading the news or anything like that. But if you just play these ATR levels that are already pre-established after the previous day's market close, then you'll do just fine. You just need to know how to actually trade around the pivots and understand what's going on. Trading in the market is almost like a new language, and it's telling a story, and you need to be able to decipher that story with a different language. And once you crack that code, then it opens up a lot of great opportunity as a professional trader. So with this said, let's go ahead and talk about this. So here you have a small value gap. Actually, I don't know if it's a value gap. Value gap is basically where this is a value gap, then you have a true gap. True gap up is where it's actually above the previous day high. But you never know, this may or may not fill. A lot of times with a true gap, it does like to fill that gap. But here you can see this is the first 30 minutes. So this is the 5-minute candles with a 30-minute overlay candle. I am going to be talking in Central Time terms because I'm in Central Time. So let's go ahead, and you can see that the first 30 minutes that this actually popped up. What I probably would have done is gone long and anticipating that they are going to make a push real fast up into this mid-range pivot. But as you are pushing up, it ends up coming back down. So if you end up getting stopped out, no worries, you get stopped out, wait till the next session. You don't want to be going in and getting out, getting in, getting out. Just wait until the next 30-minute period, because what you'll see is boom, you end up cracking right here, and now it's telling you it probably wants to go, you want to go short. So now you get into the short and you leave your stop up here, and your target is the fill in the gap or the previous day close. Previous day close was actually right here. This is this is 10 minutes after the close, these two candles. So that would be your move. And then again, you want to compartmentalize. You want to play from pivot to pivot. And then you want to see what it ends up doing around there, where it ends up wants to bounce or it ends up wanting to blow through. Move your stop or get back in, whatever strategy you feel comfortable with. But either all, you're looking at anywhere from 40 to 50 points, from these little moves in the NQ. So what does it end up doing? It ends up looking below and then reversing and then going all the way back up to the bull pivot. So now one would say, okay, until it's resistance until proven otherwise, so I'm going to short it. If it popped above and held, the 5-minute closed above, then I would have been more likely to probably go long up here, because this would have been just a dip, gap fill, and then now continuation. But until it does that, I'm going to short it. I'd rather short it and then get stopped out at 10 points and make 50 points or 100 points than miss out. So now what you're going to do is you're going to short it. What does it end up doing? Reversing and coming all the way back down. It busts through, it holds, and so one would say, okay, now it might end up coming back down here. So what does it end up doing? Coming all the way back up here. So now if you notice, you got a lower high. So that's why I was drawing this line. So anytime there's a lower high, draw it, and then gives you an idea of what the market might actually be trying to do. So you can see right here, it's VWAP, and it's another lower high. So I probably would short right here, and then if I'm wrong and I get stopped out, you're going to see a lot of volatility push through this VWAP in this area, and then it would actually continue. But again, this is one of those trend plays to where you probably would want to get short right there. What does it end up doing? Or you could have got short. You could have waited until it came right down here, and then you could have shorted to come all the way down here. So here is your morning box play. Because look, if you notice, we could not break back above by 9:30. If you cannot make new highs by 9:30 and you're in the box, the likelihood is you're going to go down to the bear pivot, or vice versa. If you're down here, you're going to go to the bull pivot. Just what I see, it's about 80% success, 80 to 90, not 100. So, you always want to size accordingly, but I rather take this trade, go short and aim down here than up here, especially after that 9 o'clock. This means right here that the momentum is not to the upside. It's not very strong. Okay, so now that you are at the 12 o'clock, so this is your morning session. Look, it did a full box play in the morning session, took all morning to do this. And now you can see that it's actually establishing some kind of trend. So what I love about using ATR pivots and noticing trends is once the trend breaks, it can get pretty violent, and you'll see that there's a lot of great opportunities to notice these trends very well defined and knowing when to reverse, and also just playing off these pivots. So again, morning session is done, and you can say it's done. Like, compartmentalize, don't think about it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip, so we can see what the afternoon brings. Now, granted, I could have moved it, and we could have played it and incrementally, but I wanted to show you that all the way until 12. Here's 12 o'clock. You still aren't breaking this trend, so it's trending down even in the afternoon session. So you have 12, 12:30, and it almost made it to the mid-range ATR. So nothing's ever going to be 100% perfect, but if you made this move, you better be taking profits, because this right here is close to, this right here is what, 660 down to 580. So what, 660 to 560 is 100 points. So you're almost looking at 80 points or so right there. That's huge, especially if it's like one contract, and that's within 1 or 30 minutes to an hour. Because also you realize 680 is right up here, and then 580 is right here. So that was actually a 100-point move from the opening of the new afternoon session. So here you go. So now you want to be watching. So this 5 minutes getting close. You see this wick right here. This right here is telling you that there's some strong buying, right here. So you want to be super careful, and you want to be watching what's going to happen. So if I drew a line right here, you'll notice that it actually held, and this would be considered a double bottom. And then now you would assume that if it breaks back above here, then you might end up getting a squeeze, because now we're getting into the apex of the trend. You have support, you have resistance when it comes to the trend line, and if you end up busting out, then things may get really violent very quickly. So what you want to do is, it ends up breaking out, where do you want to target? You always want to target the length of that trend. So my target would be right here. And what does it end up doing? It goes all the way right there, and that did that within about 30 minutes to an hour. So draw a line right here. That's like almost got to like visualize of how the market. Like, let's see, if I drew a line right here, or a box, you have to assume that this right here is going to be, whatever's in this box is going to be what the session is trading at. So the likelihood of it breaking out or breaking lower is rare. You've already sort of established some kind of session. So with that said, play the rules. I mean, look right here. You have, if it breaks above here, perfect, go long. Where am I going to target? Right here. Breaks above here, great. Where am I going to target? Right here. Boom. You can easily just play this entire move multiple times by just playing, getting in, getting out, getting in, getting out. Now you break above, you're at resistance. You see this wick, 5 minutes coming down. Ooh, sellers are stepping in and we're at resistance. That's the key when you see these wicks. Not like when you see a wick, in between, but when you see it at resistance or support. And then what does it end up doing? Coming back into the box. So now you can now target back to the previous day close, which is this middle line, and VWAP. What does it do? Drops. What are you going to do? It's support until proven otherwise. So now I'm going to go long. Boom, right to the T. So there's a lot of points being played right here. And it might be mentally challenging because you're constantly assessing. But as long as you are aware of where things are at to these pivots, you can really do very well. So this is a perfect example of a mid-range move. And actually, I think this is I say mid-range, this is a full ATR move. Because usually an ATR move is from the mid or from the previous day close to the 1 or minus 1 ATR. But because we came to the bull pivot and down, this is considered a full ATR move. It's just shown in a different way. And it did it twice. It did it in the morning session, and then it also did in the afternoon session. So this right here, there's probably about anywhere from 300 to 500 points given out this day. So, I mean, if you feel like you're missing out in the morning and you're here all day, like you can easily grab 10 to 50% of the move and do really well for the day. So just go grab yourself a coffee, step away, come back at a different period, and look where you're at relative to a new time period. But yeah, this is September 27th. This is a ATR range, but to the mid-range pivot, and it's a consolidation breakout strategy. We'll see you in the next lesson or the next market recap.